Imagine this, you are in a crowded town square in 1757. A man is about to be executed, not behind closed doors, but in full public view. The air smells of burning flesh, the crowd cheers, and the king's power is on brutal display. Fast forward just a few decades, the executions vanish, and suddenly criminals disappear behind stone walls. The violence is hidden, but the control, it's stronger than ever. In 1975, French philosopher Michel Foucault asked a simple but unsettling question. How did we go from the public torture of bodies to the quiet discipline of minds? His answer is one of the most important works in modern thought. That is, Discipline and Punish, the birth of the prison. And today we are breaking down its key ideas, its historical journey, and why it still matters in a world of constant surveillance. Published in 1975, Discipline and Punish, The Birth of the Prison is one of Michel Foucault's most influential works, a deep dive into the history of punishment, the transformation of justice, and the hidden mechanisms of power that shape modern society. Foucault doesn't just tell the story of prisons, he tells the story of a shift in how societies control people. He takes us back to a time when punishment was all about spectacle, public executions, torture, and the raw display of state power, and shows how over time this shift toward a more subtle but more effective form of control, that is, discipline. For Foucault, the worth of the prison isn't about locking people up, it's about training bodies, shaping behavior, and creating what he calls docile bodies that fit neatly into the needs of modern power structures. In this book, he uncovers how schools, armies, factories, hospitals, and prisons all share a hidden logic of control. At its heart, Discipline and Punish is a history of the present because the systems of control it describes didn't stay in the 18th century. They are still here, shaping our everyday lives. To understand Discipline and Punish, it helps to first understand Michel Foucault himself. Born in 1926 in Poitiers, France, Foucault was a philosopher, historian, and social theorist, known for his radical rethinking of power, knowledge, and how they shape human life. His work often explored institutions like hospitals, prisons, and schools, not just as neutral spaces, but as mechanisms of social control. Before writing Discipline and Punish, Foucault had already examined how societies defined and treated madness and how medicine became a form of social regulation. In this 1975 book, he turned his attention to the history of punishment, but his real question was much bigger. How did modern societies move from punishing the body to discipline the mind? This book was written in the wake of the social and political upheavals of the 1960s and 70s. Student protests, prison riots, anti authoritarian movements. Foucault himself was politically active, working with the prison's information group in France to expose the realities of the prison system. In Discipline and Punish, Foucault blends archival research with philosophical analysis. He examines historical records, execution reports, prison blueprints, and military drill manuals, all to uncover a deeper truth that punishment evolved not to become more humane but to become more effective at controlling people. And that's where his concept of the panopticon, an architectural symbol of constant surveillance, takes center stage, becoming one of the most enduring metaphors for modern power. Foucault divides discipline and punish into four parts, each tracing a stage in the transformation of punishment from a spectacle of pain to an invisible web of discipline. The first part is called Torture. The book famously opens with a shocking detailed account of the public execution of Damiens the Regicide in 1757, a gruesome ritual meant to terrorize spectators and assert the sovereign's power. In this era, punishment was about vengeance. The king's authority was written on the body through torture, mutilation, and public humiliation. But by the late 18th century, this public brutality began to vanish, not because society became more humane, Foucault argues, but because power found new, more efficient methods. Second part is called punishment. Here, Foucault charts the shift from punishing the body to punishing the soul. Justice moves indoors to prison cells and courtrooms. The goal becomes reform, rehabilitation, and correction. But this isn't mercy, it's a deeper form of control aimed at shaping the prisoner's behavior, thoughts, and identity. The third part is called discipline. Discipline, Foucault says, is a new form of power that extends far beyond prisons. It appears in schools, armies, hospitals, and factories, institutions designed to train, normalize, and regulate people. Techniques like timetables, surveillance, ranking systems, and examinations turn individuals into obedient, productive bodies. This is where he introduces one of his most famous metaphors, the panopticon, an ideal prison design proposed by Jeremy Bentham. In it, a central watchtower can observe every prisoner without them knowing when they are being watched. The result? People begin to monitor themselves. Control becomes internalized. Fourth part is called prison. Finally, Foucault examines the prison as the ultimate symbol of modern discipline. Even as crime rates fluctuate, the prison persists not because it works perfectly, but because it reinforces a network of disciplinary power that runs through the whole society. The prison, he argues, is just one node in a larger carceral system that includes schools, workplaces, and hospitals. In the end, Discipline and Punish is not just a history of prisons, it's a warning that modern power operates less through chains and more through constant observation, classification, and normalization, shaping not only what we do but who we are. So, what's Foucault really telling us here? Let's break down the major themes and why they still matter today. First of all, we have is shifts of power from sovereign to disciplinary. In the old days, power was dramatic, visible, and brutal. The king's justice was about revenge, a body for a body. But modern power doesn't need to shout, it's quiet, continuous, and everywhere. Instead of crushing the body in public, it reshapes the mind in private. This shift from sovereign power to disciplinary power is the central transformation Foucault traces. Second one, he talks about surveillance as control. The panopticon isn't just a prison design, it's a metaphor for a society where we are constantly visible, and because we might be watched at any moment, we behave as if we are. This is control without chains. Power that works because it gets inside your head. Today, it's not just guard towers, it's security cameras, digital tracking, and data monitoring. Third one, he talks about discipline beyond prisons. Foucault shows that discipline doesn't stop at the prison gate. The same methods, timetables, ranking systems, inspections, constant evaluation shape soldiers, students, workers, and patients. Modern institutions train us to self regulate, making us both productive and predictable. Fourth one, he talks about critique of humanitarian progress. It's tempting to think we are evolved, that moving from public torture to prisons is a moral victory, but Foucault challenges this. He argues that it's not progress so much as a new strategy of control, less bloody but more total. The shift was not about kindness, it was about efficiency and stability. We still live in a disciplinary society. Schools train compliance, workplaces monitor productivity, social media algorithms track and shape behavior. And with digital surveillance, Foucault's panopticon has gone global. Not just a tower in the prison yard, but a device in our pockets. His warning is clear, modern power is subtle, but it's everywhere. In the end, Discipline and Punish asks us to see the hidden systems shaping our daily lives and to question whether we are truly free when we are always being watched. So, after all that, how does Discipline and Punish hold up as a book? Let's talk about its strengths, its challenges, and the impact it has made. First, the strengths. Foucault's greatest power is how he connects history, philosophy, and everyday life. He doesn't just talk about prisons, he exposes a hidden shift in how power works across society. The book is packed with vivid historical examples, like the opening execution scene that pull you right in, and his idea of the panopticon. It has become one of the most powerful metaphors in political thought, influencing everything from sociology to pop culture. Now, the challenges. Foucault's writing is, well, it's not exactly beach reading. His style can be dense, academic, and at times abstract. The way he jumps between history, theory, and analysis can feel overwhelming for first time readers. And because he focuses more on analysis than solutions, some people leave the book thinking, okay, what do we do about all this? But despite the challenges, the book's impact is huge. Discipline and Punish reshaped how scholars think about crime, punishment, and social control. It has inspired debates in criminology, education, political theory, and even technology studies. And with today's rise in digital surveillance, facial recognition, and algorithmic control, Foucault's insights feel more relevant than ever, maybe even prophetic. Whether you agree with all of Foucault's arguments or not, one thing is clear. After reading this book, you will never look at power, prisons, or even your own daily routines the same way again. So, what's the big takeaway from Discipline and Punish? Foucault shows us that power is not just something wielded by kings or governments. It's built into our institutions, our routines, even our own minds. Prisons might be the clearest example, but the same mechanisms of discipline and surveillance shape schools, workplaces, hospitals, and yes, our digital lives. And here's the unsettling part. Once you start seeing these patterns, you realize the Panopticon isn't just a prison designed from history, it's a blueprint for the modern world. So let me leave you with this. If surveillance and discipline are everywhere, where do you draw the line between safety and control? And if we are always being watched, are we ever truly free? Thank you very much for watching the video. Have a great day.